And the claim is that when they did that, the bacteria died upon contact with John G. Lake's skin. Watch.
Lake stayed in such constant communion with the Lord that it seemed not even a deadly plague could survive when coming into contact with him.
He once took, the fluids from a dead person's body filled with living bacteria. And the doctors, told him he's going to die, by touching this stuff. And he said, put this under a microscope. You'll notice it's dead. And it's because he was confident that the resurrection of life in him, flowing from him, was greater than any disease attaching itself to him. And they did. They subjected it to a microscope, and they saw he was exactly right. Everything died. The disease died when it touched him. You don't do that unless you know who you are, whose you are, and what he's commissioned you to do.
So you see Bill Johnson recanting this, recalling this story and promoting it as true. And watch this from Andrew Womack. Now, this was recorded in March of 2020. So COVID was just getting ramped up, right? March of 2020. And listen carefully to what Andrew Womack says here.
Because, see, there are some people like me who know that no plague is going to come nigh my dwelling. If a germ touches me, it's going to die. And I believe that 100%.
Andrew Womack says, if a germ touches me, it's going to die. So forget the Fauci ouchie. There's your cure for COVID right there, apparently. Andrew Womack. Well, he says that because that is what is told of John G. Lake, and charismatics to this day believe that lie. And it is a lie. It absolutely is a lie. Now, looking this, by the way, Andrew Womack's college, Charis Bible College, they had to shut down because of COVID. So many of their students got sick. So, now, the claim is that the bacteria died upon contact with John G. Lake's skin. And he challenged them to look at the foam, look at the bacteria under a microscope. Two problems with this story. 100 years ago, there were no electron microscopes. All you had was a basic microscope, a light microscope that many of us use, back when we were in school. And pretty basic, right? So you've got the base, you've got the little mirror under there, you've got the platform with the little clips that hold the slide and the objective lens, and then your eyepiece. So now, I'm not a scientist, and I'm not a smart man, but the way this works is light comes in, right? Comes in this way, hits the mirror, right? And is reflected up through the little clear piece there on the stage and up into the objective lens, and you look down, and that's how whatever you're looking at is illuminated. What's going to happen if you put a man's hand on top of that platform? Any light getting through there? No. I mean, it's just absurd on its face. And the only way, and I had to do the research on this, but I actually watched a video on a lady with a background of science was talking about this very story. The only way to see the bacteria that cause the bubonic plague, and I guess probably most bacteria, is to stain the bacteria. Funny thing happens when you stain the bacteria, they die. So it's just fabricated. It's not true. He was a fraud. There's a picture of John G. Lake in his car. John G. Lake, miracle healing power. He traveled around with this sign claiming to be able to heal people. And now the picture on the left, that is also John G. Lake, a picture of him. One day he decided, he got this harebrained idea that he was going to portray himself as an Arab mystic. And he came out dressed like an Arab, called himself Abdul bin Shinandar. Complete fraud. Complete fraud. Lake had an affair with a 17-year-old girl named Carol Goodnow from South Africa who moved to the United States to be with him. He's a pedophile. He was 38 years old. She was 17. And like John Alexander Dowie, like Charles Fox Parham, like Frank Sanford, John G. Lake also claimed to be Elijah. Smith Wigglesworth. Now this is a British fella from John Samson's old stomping grounds, I guess. Smith Wigglesworth was a British evangelist. He's known for distributing prayer cloths. He took the account in Acts chapter 19 of handkerchiefs and prayer cloths going from the Apostle Paul and made that a normative thing. And that's something common that you'll see today in the charismatic movement. Some of these televangelists, TV preachers, they'll send you an anointed prayer cloth. Of course, if you send them money first, but if you send them money, then they'll send you an anointed prayer cloth, and that will heal what ails you. But just keep the money coming. Smith Wigglesworth said this, quote, "It is a disgrace for a believer to go to a doctor." You see this recurring theme here. "I'll only pray for you once," said Smith Wigglesworth. "To pray twice is unbelief." To one sick person who returned a second night, he said, "Didn't I pray for you last night? You were full of unbelief. Get off this platform." Smith Wigglesworth's distinctive, the thing for which he was most well known, is that he claimed to be able to see the demon of whatever sickness you had. So if you had cancer, he could see the demon of cancer that was attached to your body. If you had arthritis, he could see the demon of arthritis. And he believed that the only way to dislodge said demon from the person was to punch it off or kick it off. So he would literally go up to people, sick people, and punch them and kick them. You know, just like we see Jesus and the apostles doing in the New Testament. And he said, "I don't hit them, I hit the devil." So Smith Wigglesworth was the inspiration for Todd Bentley, who was known for kicking and punching people. But watch this. I want to show you a clip from the Sid Roth program. Sid Roth is talking about one of the tales that is told of Smith Wigglesworth. Watch this.